Okay. That was corny. I know. Whatever. I'm having too much fun with this. Okay. So welcome to the chapter over family. So, when we do this chapter, I usually don't do a lecture, and this isn't going to be a lecture per se, but it's going to be some things to prime you to think about. Usually you would get in groups and discuss this, and I'll let you discuss it like a very little bit on the next class I see you. But for today, I'm going to go over this, and I really want you to think about these things because we're going to talk about them, and also you are going to write about them in a discussion to get attendance for today. So let us begin. One characteristic of families is the development of family identity. This becomes evident in shared stories and traditions. What are some examples of your family's traditions that reflect your family identity? So, I think it's very easy for y'all to think about traditions. We all know what we do for birthdays, what we do for holidays. You know, with birthdays, maybe you do like my family does, and you pick where we go out to eat or what we have for that meal, right? But I would challenge you to think about traditions as even something that is a reoccurring thing, right? Like a tradition doesn't have to be like this huge thing that you do for the holidays. So for example, my family, and this is common, my family would order pizza I'm pretty sure my parents still do, order pizza every Friday night. Okay. It doesn't matter if it is, you know, like growing up, we knew not to be like, what are we having for dinner? Like, we're ordering pizza. You already know. Okay. So think about that. What are some traditions that your family has? Let's move on. Maintaining healthy families has become a challenge given the pace of modern life. In fact, it's unusual for families to sit down to dinner together these days. In what ways do you use email, text messaging, written notes, or phone calls to communicate with your family? Does the use of these tools maintain relationship health? So I know technology always comes into it, and technology is a double-edged sword, right? We always think about technology is restrictive in ways, and it's negative when not used correctly, but it's also really beneficial. So how does your family use technology to maintain your familial relationships? Maybe you have a group text. I know my family does, and there are times when it's not necessarily things that I need to know, such as like on my way, see you soon, you know, like I'm not there. I don't need to know who's on their way to dinner or whatever. But it, it does, I like reading it because it kind of lets me feel like I'm there and like I'm still in the loop, but maybe I just have too much FOMO. So I would challenge you to think about how your family uses technology and does it maintain that relationship health? What experiences do you have in regards to family stories? What is the nature of the birth stories in your family? Courtship stories, survival stories? What stories does your family have that don't fit the types of stories mentioned in the chapter? So your chapter talks about family stories, and these are incredibly, incredibly important to families. They really are. They, we put a lot into the family stories and we like hearing them. The birth stories of how people were born, courtship stories. Do you know how your parents met? Do you know how your grandparents met? Do you know how your aunts and uncles met? Or, I'm sure you know how your siblings met if they are married. But we like hearing those and we like telling those. I don't know if I'm dating myself, but if y'all have seen the movie Signs, I've tried to find the clip, but I just can't. But I'll explain it to you. So in Signs, there's a scene where the aliens are coming to invade them, and Mel Gibson's character, the dad, he's trying to calm his two kids down. And he's like, hey, I forget the boy's name, but he says, hey, when you were born, your mom looked at me and said, you're so gorgeous, and you came, and blah, blah, blah. And he tells their birth stories to kind of calm them down. And I know that's something, even as we get older, we enjoy hearing it. We enjoy hearing how we came into the world. Survival stories can be really impactful and important. Those can be even somewhat hard to talk about, and maybe your family has other stories that you tell that don't fit those type of stories mentioned in the chapter. So think about the stories that are told. Do you know your birth story? Do you know courtship stories about your family? All right. Some families encounter the challenge of parental favoritism. What are some examples of favoritism? Have you experienced favoritism in your family or observed it in the family of someone you know? How might favoritism affect children? What measures can be taken to deal with parental favoritism? So part of this is experience. Part of this is assessment from the textbook. So the chapter does talk about favoritism, which actually isn't a positive thing. I'm not a parent yet, so I can't say anything about this to an extent. But what I'm going to say about it is I know some parents argue that you have favorites, and some parents say you have favorites for different things, right? Like maybe you have a child that is not your favorite, but the one that you can connect with and open up with. Maybe they're the one that you do this activity with. So, but I know some families, and I've had students who have said, the second they hear this, it's like, yep, my brother's the favorite, or I'm the favorite, or whatever. So I know it isn't always fun to talk about, but I would challenge you to think about and talk about, we'll talk about it on Monday. Do you have any favoritism in your family, or do you even have, if there's none within the family you're in as far as siblings go, have your parents said like, oh, I was the favorite, or, whatever. And your book does talk about that. So I think it's really interesting to bring up. And on Monday, I'm going to show you an example of favoritism and how that can play in a family. How do you differentiate people in your family from people who are not in your family? How important are genetic ties, legal bonds, and role behaviors? So this one is, we talk about, but I've said since the beginning of the semester, when we talk about family, that can include a lot of different things. For you, maybe when you think about family, you think of blood ties, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That is the technical, I would assume, definition for a family member. But maybe you, regardless of whether you have a bad relationship or not with your family, maybe, or your blood family, your genetic tied family, maybe you think more of family as people that you spend time around. I know even an example of how this can play in is, even if maybe your parents have like a friend and it's your family friend and you call them an aunt or an uncle, but they're not actually your aunt or uncle, but you still call them an aunt or uncle even though there's no tie genetically to them. So yeah, how do you differentiate people in your family from people who are not in your family? And I know this might seem like a weird question, but for some people it's different. It might be my family are the people that I love the most, or, kind of that definition of family for you. What roles did you play in your family while you were growing up? What roles would you say that you still play in your family? So the textbook talks about different roles that we sometimes play. It can be the funny person, the screw up, as much as that's not fun to talk about. It could be the overachiever, and sometimes we play roles in our family, and sometimes because we keep playing those roles, we get something from that, and that can be a part of our identity as far as who we are in the scheme of our family, what role we play, so that we can either stand apart or try to blend in more, whatever. Sometimes we bring those roles upon ourselves. Sometimes they were chosen for us. Sometimes they evolve from who we are. So I would challenge you to think about, what roles do you play in your family, and what roles did you play growing up? How did that impact you? Okay. So that is it for not the discussion over family, because there's so much to discuss, but I really want you to read the textbook and answer the discussion posts, and you're going to be reflecting over the things that I've asked you to reflect on. So I will see y'all, hopefully, I'm assuming, on Monday. Be sure that you read the textbook. That's all I have. Y'all have a great day. I will see you on Monday.